Hello there, my name's Nathan Gray. I'm one of the co-chairs at Naturally Informed, and I'm delighted to be welcoming you back to our bonus content sessions, our extra reps, if you will, for our Naturally Informed Sports Nutrition and Active Nutrition event. I'm delighted to be joined again by Jamie Meeks, our keynote speaker from the first day. She's the Director of Sports Nutrition at the New Orleans Saints, and we had a great session a couple of weeks ago now, Jamie, where you gave us some really fantastic insights. Unfortunately, we ran out of time to do much of the Q&A there. So we're going to spend 5-10 minutes or so now just having a quick chat and going through some of those questions. I will urge everyone watching, though, to please go back and check out Jamie's initial presentation online. That is available on demand right now, so please do go and do that. And then pop back here after and watch through our Q&A. So thanks again for joining us, Jamie. Delighted.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Yeah. It feels in many ways like a lifetime ago since we last spoke, but it was only a week or so. But I know you've been away and I've also been away on vacation, so just time flies, I guess.
It does.
I'm going to dive straight in and ask you a few questions now on really your practice and some of the things that you were talking about on that live session. So one of the things that we got asked a couple of times was about whether you have preferred sources, both for things like continuing education on supplements and on nutrition, so that people are, or you and the people that you're working with are always up to date on the latest information, and also in terms of sourcing your nutritional products and things like that, whether there's a particular process that you have to go through.
Yeah, really good question. So continuing education is very, very important for our profession, just because the research keeps on evolving and growing. So it is important for us to keep up with that research. So not only just reading new research, we actually have a group, the Collegiate and Professional Sports Dietitians Association, and we have access to their listserv and also a research library where they update with all sorts of new research. So that is one of our main sources of clinical research papers, but then also certain sources, the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics, they have a sport nutrition dietetic practice group that I'm a part of. And so they definitely help out with lots of resources and new research and educational material, as well as even the Gatorade Sports Science Institute. They do a phenomenal job of with their research and also really good educational material. So those are the top that I really look into. And to be honest, like, I follow a lot of professionals on Twitter, Instagram, and that is a great way of getting information. Again, not just following anybody that's a fitness guru or whatever, but really making sure that they have their credentials behind their name and they share their research. And so that's a good avenue as well.
Great tips there. Thank you so much, Jamie. I guess the second part of that is really, focus more on your sourcing and or recommendations as well. So based on the sources that you've been that you just mentioned, when you're looking at products and things that you may be recommending or using, are you looking for sort of the finished products? What sort of level of clinical research are you looking for, and where is the reliance there? Are you looking for manufacturers to really provide all of that data, or is there a due diligence process that you follow yourself and that the team has?
Right. So when it comes to sport nutrition products, mostly supplemental products, is first looking, where is the research? Are we just buying a product because it has good marketing and it says that it's doing a certain thing? First things first is there research to back up that is an effective product that is going to help with sports performance or whatever, sports performance, strength, power, whatever it is promising to do? Where's the research behind that? So we're not going to just buy a product because it's kind of trending right now. It's where is it research to show that it's effective? That's number one. Number two, the safety of it. When it comes, I talked about those certification. Is it third party tested? Does the label match what's in the product? Or is it tested for banned substances? Because our athletes do get drug tested. That is extremely important. Not only just so they don't get suspended, but also for their overall health. We want to make sure that it's not going to harm them in any way. And then after that, then we'll look into just certain ingredients in there. Okay. The product itself has shown to have good research behind it. Is there anything added in there that maybe it's a proprietary blend, which I'm not a huge fan of. We like to see all ingredients listed out individually and the amounts in there to make sure that it's a good therapeutic dosage and not just like a sprinkle of this, a sprinkle of that, just for marketing reasons. So that's mostly what I look at. I don't want to speak for other dietitians, but I would say that's mostly what we're looking at when it comes to products.
Absolutely. Some great insights there. One of the things that we've got a question asking you, and I guess almost certainly does happen, and I'd love to have some insights into is how often and what's the way that it works when, I guess you get a lot of players who bring things and ask you about them, and what is it that process happens? Is it sort of people just bringing you random bottles of things and saying, hey, should I be taking this? And is there things that you do to sort of customize it, or is there a process there? Is it?
Right. No, and it kind of happens like that. Like we'll have guys that might bring one bottle. I remember years ago, a guy literally brought me a duffel bag full of bottles and tubs, and I'm like, oh geez. And so it's first of all talking to them. Okay, what are you supplementing? Are you just taking this just because someone told you to, or is there a reason that you feel you need to take these products? Is your diet that limited to where you need to take certain products or certain supplemental products? So kind of going that route. And then once we finish with that, then we can go through the products and I can educate him or her on what is this product? What is it doing? Is it effective? Is it even safe? Is it certified? So pretty much, yeah, they bring me stuff that they may get from a friend or agent or just whoever, and like, oh, can you check this out? And so pretty much that's how it happens.
Awesome. Okay, that's good to know. So one of the questions that we've had a couple along the same lines, so I'm going to try and tie them together here, and it's asking about how much you're seeing players and the people you work with changing their dietary habits or needing specific dietary advice for dietary needs. We've covered things in the conference of talking about plant-based. We've talked about keto quite a lot. We've talked about all sorts of other requirements. For example, we had a session after yours talking about underrepresented groups in sports nutrition, and there was a lot of talk about things like people from different religions who maybe have different dietary requirements, not just in terms of what they can and can't eat, but also in terms of timing and things like fasting and things like that. So how much does all that come into play, and what are your experiences sort of right there at that front line in terms of all of these different things? And sure, there's lots of, let's call them sort of the fad diets and trends and things, and then there's sort of other real dietary requirements. So how does all that play off?
Yeah, I've actually seen an increase in this over the past couple of years. And I don't know if it's because of documentaries coming out or social media, just people have more access to these trends and fads, and people wanting to try out certain things. And so I've had plenty of players come up to me and ask me my thoughts on these particular diets, and how it would affect their performance, how it would affect their body composition. And I would be honest with them mostly, is really telling them their needs for their particular body and for their sport. I'm never going to bash them. I think I mentioned that in my talk. I never will bash the way that they want to eat. I'll let them try it if it's not harmful. Give it a try. Sometimes a live and learn situation. Usually they learn pretty quickly that more of a balanced, varied diet is going to be best for them as football players, just due to their body size and their how active they are. But I am seeing that. And guys that do choose to stick with a certain style of eating, like I do have a few vegans, I do have some vegetarians. And so we will accommodate them when it comes to feeding them in our home cafeteria on the road. We have plenty of options for these guys to accommodate their wants and needs. So it's really just talking to them, getting to know them, educating them, and figuring out a way to to make it work.
And have you seen sort of a big uptick in, especially in things like plant-based and vegan? There seems to be so much more about it in the last few years, and some really great documentaries out there, as you alluded to. So, is that in particular one of those things that you've seen a lot of the people that you're working with really exploring more?
Yeah, it really has increased, at least maybe not everyone going totally vegan or vegetarian, but maybe just wanting to learn more about it. And, I do kind of give them some insight on the documentaries is, yeah, it is based on research, but just be careful with those documentaries because sometimes they are biased. Sometimes they just quote research that backs up what they want to show in the documentary. But there are plenty of other research studies that show another way of eating is just as good for you. So try to show them that balance. Again, just educate them as much as possible, and just so they can succeed.
Awesome. I've got a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. I'm going to keep these separate, but they're looking at slightly different areas of what would be termed traditional sports nutrition, I guess, and active nutrition. So I don't know if you remember, but we had a live poll just before your presentation on our live day, and actually in the poll, gut health ranked second as sort of one of the biggest opportunities for the active and sports nutrition space. And we wondered whether you see any more interest from the people that you work with, and whether you have more interest personally in that sort of area. Where are you seeing more interest in probiotics, prebiotics, gut health, microbiome? We had a great couple of presentations after you as well on sort of emerging microbiome science and how that impacts performance and endurance and athletic performance and things like that. So yeah, is this an area that you're keeping a close eye on and hearing a lot about too?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of guys do inquire a lot about probiotics and just kind of their gut health in general when it comes to bettering their digestion, if they have IBS symptoms or just issues. And a lot of people on the outside think that elite athletes don't have issues like that, and it's not true. I think they're human as well. So it's kind of tackling that, and it is working with our medical staff, athletic trainers, our physicians, if we do have major issues when it comes to gut health. But I do get a lot of questions about probiotics, food that are high in natural probiotics, prebiotics, high fiber foods, certain beverages like kombucha and things like that have definitely sparked an interest as well. So yes, for sure. So that poll was right on.
And is that something where you personally sort of see some interesting new science and opportunities there, or is it sort of starting to inform some of your practice as well?
Yes, absolutely. Not just the educational part of it, but also just products coming out that have added probiotics, prebiotics, stuff to better gut health. So I'm interested to learn a little bit more about it too, because it is, like you said, becoming more popular, and I think more people are open about their gut health, digestive health. So,
yeah, and in particular, I mean, the microbiome as a topic is being linked to it's been becoming more and more well researched and documented in the scientific literature, for example, that that community of bacteria in our gut doesn't just affect digestion and GI disturbances, but all sorts of other things like our mood and physical performance and general immune health and things like that. So as more science comes out in that area, I can only personally imagine that it's going to impact all sorts of areas of nutrition much more. Tying into that, it's a similar question, but it's really looking at the issues around things like mental focus, mental health issues, decision making, things like that. Again, one of the big topics and trends in the nutrition industry is over the last few years has been talking about things like nootropics, however you want to pronounce it, and things that help you think better, and make better decisions and things like that. And of course, there's a huge edge to that in competitive sport and athletics and things like that as well. Is that something that you're paying more attention to and seeing more, in the same line as I asked about the gut health?
Yes, absolutely. You'll see, been seeing a lot of products pop up lately even the NFL sports dietitians, we got together this past winter and had a guest speaker on nootropics. And so it is something that we are keeping an eye on. I know there are certain teams within the league where a lot of players have spoke to their dietitian, asking more questions on the nootropics. I'll be honest, not many of our guys yet have really inquired here, but I feel that it's coming. So, but yes, I have seen an uptick in that.
Awesome. Right, I'm going to wrap up with one final question, and I guess it's a really nice one just to finish on, and it's coming in. It's just asked if there's one thing that you'd like to see more brackets or less of in the supplements industry. What would it be? What if we could just make or change one thing or a couple of things that would really help you and what you do in your practice, and if you could make one or two changes, what would they be?
I would say companies just being more honest. I mean, and I know it's all about, making money, but there are tons of supplement companies out there just about the money, and they really don't care about the health and the wellness of these athletes. And, they kind of take advantage of their vulnerability to, just buy anything to be better. So, for companies to do their research, put quality ingredients into their products, get a certification, and really help these athletes out to know like what actually is beneficial to take. So I know the supplement industry is multi-billion-dollar industry, so it's not going to happen with all companies, but we can start somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's also important for us to talk about, the fact that it's often the minority of companies that are quite the bad actors, let's say, the bad apples, but they do tend to ruin it for a lot of the others. And
right,
exactly that,
exactly. And because I know there are several great companies out there that do it the right way, and maybe just can't afford right now to get a third-party certification. And unfortunately, that's like what, as sports dietitians, especially in a professional league, like we can't suggest any supplement that's not third-party certified. So I know there are other companies that are great that can't afford that certification just yet, and so they're missing out on great sales. So yeah, it kind of stinks that they're kind of missing out, but.
But I mean, again, it does just reiterate sort of the importance, as you mentioned in your presentation, of those third-party certifiers. And we had again another presentation alluding to some of that, and some of the quality assurances and certification schemes that are out there. And actually in especially in this space, if you're playing at that more elite level, less so at the sort of active everyday consumer who's going down the gym or competing at a lower level. But certainly if you're wanting to compete with and be in there with people right at the top of the game at that elite level, then those are absolutely necessary. So great. Thank you so much, Jamie. I thank you so much for your time, and unfortunately that is all we've got time for, but a really fascinating conversation and some really wonderful insights. So just a huge thank you again for you for taking the time to join us again for our extra reps here, and for joining us again in our previous presentations. For everyone watching, please do remember that you can go back and check on all of our on-demand content and check out Jamie's awesome presentation that accompanies this Q&A bonus session.
Thank you.